Hi, it's me, your favorite YouTuber, I think. But, hey, I'm back making a video on this game because this game is fantastic, and I thought I would, make another video on it, especially considering that this video could be very, useful information for most, players who are either new to the game or haven't even gotten past level 5 without dying. Let's dissect every single enemy that's currently in the game, why don't we? Marth is a very, very easy enemy to deal with. He spawns in a random vicinity from the spawn point. It's always going to be close to the spawn point, but it's usually around that area. And he'll make his way towards any person that's closest to him. If you touch him, you die, obviously. It's pretty simple, just go around him and stuff. He's not that hard to deal with. He's really easy to, maneuver around. Just sometimes he can come through the floors, so yeah, make sure you're listening for his the noise that he makes, so that way you know and you don't get, messed up. He has a curse with him too, which most of the enemies do. He has a curse called Marth Slide, which instead of making him, slowly approach you, instead he charges around the entire map. He's practically like sliding around like on the air, and it's basically sending him flying in all types of directions. Sometimes he'll just be flying so goddamn fast that he'll end up just missing you, but there is a chance he could possibly snipe you, so yeah, do watch out for that. But most of the time, this is going to be harmless, and he realistically doesn't really, slide into as often. So yeah, he's pretty simple to deal with. Bell. This is the only enemy, I believe, that is non-lethal, so when you touch this enemy, it doesn't kill you. Basically what the bell does is it's like a stationary object, so it'll teleport in random locations across the entire map. It's usually random. I don't know if it teleports like close to a person or if it's just like purely random, but yeah, basically if you touch this bell, it'll cause you to have your vision be blurred, and you'll also jump when you hit this bell. It really distorts your vision like really bad, and it makes a little ringing sound too. Now this isn't bad in terms of like, oh, you hit it and it distorts your vision, right? When you're playing with other people, if somebody hits the bell, it'll distort the screen for every person in the lobby. Which means if somebody's doing like jumping over a ledge and then somebody hits the bell at the same time, it could mess up their jump and get them killed. So yeah, sometimes it can be pretty annoying, but most of the times it's really just a mild inconvenience. But that's until you get the curse for it, which is more ringing. This essentially just makes it so that way every single enemy in the game can also ring the bell. Because before, basically, if enemies touch the bell, it wouldn't ring, but now they can. Which, this can be really annoying to deal with, especially with synergies like Marth and the bell, because Marth could just be like going towards you and then he could collide with the bell on his way to you, which could really freaking mess you up. So yeah, usually just a mild inconvenience at most. The bell isn't really that big of a problem. Skinwalker, oh boy, this is the one that I've heard from most people is renownedly one of the worst ones out of them all. It's one of the worst early game ones you can take because it could really mess you up later on in the levels. Basically, the Skinwalker mimics your every move, right? And I mean every move. It mimics when you jump, it mimics when you dive, it mimics your whole routes, which means if you're not careful and, juke out your own route, it's gonna collide with you and you'll die. It doesn't sound that bad in practice, as you kind of just have to maneuver around it and just make it path in a way so that way you don't end up colliding with it. But on top of all the other enemies and, curses and stuff like that, it could end up messing you up pretty badly. And not to mention its own curse, which is the faster Skinwalker. It makes the Skinwalker way faster, having practically the same amount of speed as you, which I'm pretty sure it already did. But I think it just starts off closer to you now. Either that or it's faster. I don't know which one it is, but it feels like it's always been the same speed as you. It's just like closer now. But yeah, it makes it way more difficult to maneuver and juke around the Skinwalker, which can be really annoying and super tedious. Not to mention the fact that Skinwalkers can stack, and it won't be like multiple Skinwalkers on top of each other. It'll be like Skinwalker after Skinwalker after Skinwalker, like a freaking conga line. It's bad, bro. It's gonna hit like a truck. It's gonna hurt. So yeah, Skinwalker really does suck. I think he's probably one of the worst enemies you can get, especially for early game, because then it's gonna build up, and it's gonna get way worse. Baby! Oh, Baby. Baby is an interesting case. Baby basically spawns in a random radius from the spawn, just like how Marth does, and he'll make a little line indicating that he's gonna charge in that direction, and once he makes his little screaming sound effect, then he charges in that direction. It's pretty easy to predict for the most part, but then you get the curse for it, which is Baby No Indicator, so you can't see the line from which it's charging, so you kind of just have to rely on sound, which is really annoying. This enemy can be really annoying later game with all the enemies stacked on, but by itself it's really not as awful. I understand why a lot of people don't really like taking this one, because Baby can suck. Like, I think it's definitely second worst to Skinwalker in my eyes. So yeah, pretty annoying enemy. ICBM. This has always been one of the more interesting ones to me. It's basically like a rocket, and it has a little target that it indicates on top of you. I think it goes for the person that's the closest from where it's shot after. I don't know. It's pretty hard to tell, but basically, once it has this little lock on you, this little target, it makes these beeping noises, and then eventually it'll stop get rid of the target line and just have a little line pointing down, which basically it's just it coming down. So you just have to move out of the way from the rocket. It's really easy to dodge, but it can get a little bit tedious if you're in dead zones. So if you're in like dead zones, you know, like corners, and you need to get the gifts in those corners, then you can just have you know, the ICBM activate and then go into the dead zones, so that way you have enough time to get out of the dead zones to prevent the ICBM from killing you, because the explosion radius is very deceiving sometimes, so be wary of that. And it gets even more deceiving when you get big ICBM. That's its curse, big ICBM. It basically just makes it so that way the range and the radius of the hitbox for ICBM is bigger, and it also makes his explosion larger. So yeah, usually this is not a good take. It's pretty much just run killing. I wouldn't recommend. Okay, let's get into these enemies. These are the ones that you really see past level 5, and most of them are kind of just reskins or upgraded versions of the original, you know, 5 that you get before level 5. Flesh is just like Marth, but with slippery tiles. Essentially, he'll chase after you the same way Marth does, but he does it significantly faster, so he's kind of like barreling at you. Not super fast, like slower than your speed, obviously, but fast enough to the point where it's noticeable. And instead of like it just like passing through walls regularly, when it hits tiles and stuff like that, it makes it slippery, right? It covers it in like this bloody thing that makes the tiles slippery, which makes it harder to get away from flesh if you ever get inconvenienced like that. But it's not the worst thing to dodge in the world, if I'm being honest. I think there's way worse entities coming up. So yeah, flesh is fine. Pretty easy to counter. Telefragger is such an oddball, dude. Basically, Telefragger starts off, and then you'll hear this noise that it makes, indicating that it's teleporting in front of someone. It teleports some pretty decent studs away from you whilst being in front of you. It's basically just there to like catch you off guard whilst you're trying to get gifts. It's recommended that if Telefragger is on you and not on somebody else, you shouldn't dive as much, because then you're going to get baited into diving into Telefragger. So yeah, that would be very, very stupid of you. It's pretty obvious though. You shouldn't dive regardless, because of most of the enemies that can really mess you up. Telefragger isn't the worst thing in the world though. Most of the time, if he's going for someone, he's going to stay on that one person until they die. That's why he teleports, so that way he can get closer to that one person. If he does go for somebody else, then you better pray it's not you, because sometimes the teleports can be really stupid, and that's why he's called Telefragger for a reason, you know? Okay, I really tried my hardest to get footage of this enemy, but like, they show up so, like, such a little amount, it's so hard for me to get this. Nil is kind of like Baby, but as an ambusher, and comes less often. Instead of, like, being a constant force, it's more like just random when Nil attacks. So he acts the same mechanic as Baby, except without, like, showing you where it's gonna come from. It just appears randomly, which it's like, I rarely ever see Nil, even when I select the enemy to be, you know, used. I rarely ever see it. So most of the time you won't have to worry about it, but if it does end up, you know, spawning, just move out of the way. Just make sure you're always moving to prevent Nil from, you know, sneaking you. It's not that hard. Very easy to deal with. Shadow Baby. Oh my god. This might actually be the worst enemy in the game. I'm being so straight up. Shadow Baby acts just like regular Baby, except it charges for way farther, and it also charges significantly faster. It's practically instant, if anything. Like, it's like the most annoying thing. I think Shadow Baby is honestly worse than Skinwalker. I really think so, because, like, this thing is so freaking constant. It's so, like, aggressive. It's impossible to dodge most of the times when you're dealing with other things. So if you get cornered and you're in a dead zone, you're kind of just cooked, because you have to deal with all these other enemies on top of Shadow Baby. Oh my god, it's actually over, dude. And there also is random, but random isn't technically an enemy. It just adds a random enemy, you know, from the pool that's already in the selected pool. So it'll be like a duplicate of one of the enemies you've already chosen. So yeah, that's all the enemies. They're very interesting in their own unique ways, and hope this helps your runs. But yeah, that's all. See ya.